Welcome, everybody. This is episode 41 of the Otaku Summit podcast. We are back again. I am your boy, one fourth of the Otaku Summit, Kuma, alongside my boy Omar, aka Bruce Wayne, aka Vengeance, as he has it labeled today. I don't know why, but hey, that's a personal reason. He's a special character. Vicky and April aren't with us today. April is not feeling well, and Vicky is currently traveling, so we will miss them. But in place of them, we have a very, very special guest back to the pod once again for a very special episode. Holding down BEY Entertainment, we have Leroy with us. Everybody, welcome Leroy to the pod.
Blessings.
Yes, welcome back. What's been up since the last time you've been here, man? What's good?
Boy, a lot, man. A lot. We've been reshuffling on our side. We have obviously more content on the way coming for the YouTube. We stay on Twitch, but just working, man. Just working, not too much. Had to watch some refresher videos in preparation for what was today. I watched we were supposed to do this like 2 weeks ago, so the stuff was fresh then, and I didn't refresh since then. But I feel like I still got it. It's still fresh enough. It's still fresh enough.
Once it's there, you don't ever forget.
Oh yeah. You just
gotta love for it again. Cause I went to the same. I've been going through the same thing. I've been taking a bit of a binge down memory lane. For those who don't know, we're continuing a conversation we started in the last podcast, in which we had Leroy and Devon on, and we kind of got into a bit of One Piece compared to Hunter x Hunter in the two series, and where they stacked up as being arguably some of the peak in the shonen genre, arguably some of the most beloved work that we have out right now. And so we just wanted to continue that and to dive a bit deeper in there. So I've taken a bit of a binge, and I got reminded of a few things. I will say I got reminded of a few things, and I'm happy I took this bit, especially because it's early on in the series. But before we get to that though, Leroy, I just want you to tell the people a bit more about what BEY Entertainment is and what you guys have to offer. The content space, the anime space, the streaming space. Like, what are you guys about?
Of course. So, as usual, I just preface it by saying BEY is just a group of niggas who like playing games and talking shit. But it's more than that. That's the core. But that's how it got started. That's how it got started. So we just figured, when we sitting down, it's like 4 or 5 of us when we playing games on Saturday, Sunday, whenever have you. It's just a good time, man. It's a good feeling, and in the middle of the whole COVID, what's not, niggas is just like, man, why not? Let's try stream and see how it is.
Like when
fell in love with it. Then we started having, the conversations that you and your boys have all the time on WhatsApp, all the time when you all link up on different shows, different anime, different games. It's like, boy, let's record this and like get more people in on the conversation. So we just make content right now so that people can feel how we feel talking and just enjoying these things that we love: anime, gaming, tech, movies, comics, all the nerdy shit that's cool now. But aside from that, we got some more stuff coming on the way. I don't want to say too much yet.
All right, secret things. I like secret things.
But we might be having some tangibles. We might be having some physical things coming pretty soon. Possibly some services. I know what I can't say for sure, but I can say one thing: if you get in that Discord, you can stay on top of whatever we got going on, and it coming soon. 2022 ain't get done before you see some new things from us.
Awesome, and we will definitely make sure to shout out the Discord and to get people involved and to get people in there. Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate that. Now, on to
the meat and potatoes.
Yes, the meat and potatoes. Why the nitty gritty? The why we here. Hunter x Hunter, as I like to call it, and One Piece.
Oh Jesus!
Gashi and Oda.
You know, it could be a good
Yes.
discussion when the episodes start with the man saying, I might have to walk back a couple of things. That's when you know it
It's
could be a
true.
good
It's true.
episode.
It's true. As I watched, right? As I watched,
Mm.
I cannot deny, as a shonen, Hunter is very captivating, and it does grip you, and it brings you in,
And it doesn't let go.
It doesn't. You're right. No, it gets you in that frame of mind, whereas like I have to keep watching the next episode, and it doesn't feel like it's drawn out. Like it doesn't feel like you're just a draw. Like you have to get so many episodes, and that's actually bringing me to a very interesting point. Um, to what I wanted to make about Tagashi and Oda. However, I am also here to double down on a few things as well. But before we get, I say, Amar, you got the floor because Amar's been waiting for this for a while, and he's been very passionate about this. He's been the one that's really been advocating for this discussion. So I'm gonna let him take the floor first, and then we just chime in after.
All right.
Okay, so for the viewers out there, like what Javon said, Hunter is that type of series that once it gets that grip on you, it doesn't let go. The character work, how meticulous everything from the world to the battle mechanics, like how well crafted Togashi took time to make sure that everything there isn't any plot holes, there isn't anything to be left to desire. Just the amount of care that Togashi has taken with his magnum opus known as Hunter x Hunter. It's just astonishing. I've never seen this done in any shonen before in my life. Like a lot of people already know Togashi for his character work because of a series such as Yu Yu Hakusho, but I feel like he took it to the next level with this one because it's not just well, let me not say villains because some of them like they have villain tendencies, but they just more so antagonists.
Antagonists,
so yeah, the antagonist.
Fair.
It's not just the antagonist who has
Fair.
great writing attached to them. It's also the what's the word for a triple protagonist? Because I know two protagonists is deuterogonists, and then there's another one for three. Because Hunter is a special series that it doesn't just have one protagonist. It has three.
No.
So, yeah, like the work Togashi does with his side characters, the main characters,
amazing.
It's just masterful.
Amazing.
I'll even take you a step forward and say Hunter, at least very early on, has no main direction because we get introduced to Hunter to the eyes of Gon, and him in this desire to become a hunter, to pass the hunter exam and follow in his father's footsteps, and to understand, well, why did my dad choose to become a hunter over raising me? Which, in itself was a different discussion. But
very wise.
And it takes us on this ride, and it just keeps going and going to where he has different motivations. Like I said in the bits, like currently it's him wanting to fight Hisoka. So he could, because of an event that happened in the Hunter exam. So, like you said, it has no real one antagonist, and it doesn't have any real one story point. To say, like, as with One Piece, and you're with Luffy in his journey of becoming the Pirate King, and then just the world itself fills you in and engulfs you onto what that journey looks like and where that leads and where that's leading you. So that kind of brought me to, as I was watching, I realized two things in regards to Oda and Togashi, and it's that with Togashi in regards to Hunter, you can tell that this is a veteran that is writing his second story. Like, this isn't his first time. So you get introduced to the story, but it doesn't take you long to get engulfed into the story. It doesn't take you long to let you understand, well, this is what's going on, and to create something that is like, okay, I want to see more. Whereas with Oda, this is One Piece is his first work. This is his first introduction to the anime world, to the community, and everyone at large. that's reading his work. So of course, with him, it's more of a building block. Now, this is where I want to double down in my statement and say I still find One Piece
Mm-hmm.
in its entirety as you look at it from start to beginning, because I was analyzing both starts of the series, and like I said, you
Mm-hmm.
can tell there's a difference in this is a veteran and this is a person that's still starting out.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it, because a lot of people, and it's funny, and I'm happy because I had a conversation with someone, well, at least I asked the questions to someone who never started One Piece and their reason behind it. It's like, okay, why, what was your reason? And it's like the pacing of the show at the start, which to an extent I agree with. I can see, I can, especially if you compare it to Hunter. But even then, and as I look back at it, it was needed,
Mhm.
because if you look at it, One Piece is this big grand journey of
Mm-hmm.
this boy inspiring to be a pirate, to unlock this hidden mystical treasure that was left years ago by the most renowned pirate in the world. So of course we have to go through building blocks and steps of him forming a crew, creating a bond with this crew, and then going on this journey from a vast sea of countries to countries along the way, that's taking you and engulfing you and giving you the story of everything that's going on, to why him discovering One Piece, the people he meets along the way. And this is why we hold Oda as such an incredible world builder. And so for me, the differences that puts, because in reality, to me, I came to, I at the end of it all, I also came to the conclusion that Togashi and Oda aren't too different from each other, and their works
Mm-hmm.
aren't too different from each other either.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it for me at One Piece, Oda was able to construct a story in a world and a set of characters that not only engulfed you, but made you feel as though you were a part of this crew. You
Mm-hmm.
were a part of
Mhm.
the journey in which Luffy gets introduced to the people that he's eventually going to be on this crew with. We were there for that. We were there for
Mm-hmm.
when he eventually construct this crew, and we're watching
Mm-hmm.
this bond happen.
Yeah.
I don't think any other manga author, in my humble opinion, has been able to create something. Because a lot of people would feel like, oh, you're just watching One Piece because or you're just invested, or because it may be popular, so you're just gonna like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oda made you love these characters to the point, fundamentally, they feel like your family as well. It's almost like you become Luffy in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
and these people are not, you have a mass connection to them. So now you want to see where everything else goes. You want to see how this story unfolds. You want to see their like, One Piece to me brings another level of joy and excitement and rejuvenation and a youthful energy to you
Mm-hmm.
that other shonens don't do. Now, Hunter is great. Hunter is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I do feel like there's a double meaning to that when I say Hunter. When you say Hunter is also peak shonen, I also feel like it's very stereotypical shonen in its own right, in its own way. So whereas Gon, like I say, this is where I go and say back, they aren't too different. Gon and Luffy, I feel, aren't two different individuals as well. Gon is that individual, that main character, is where you can take controls and be like, oh, he figures out the stuff as main characters do. He goes through a process of I just want to be strong, as main characters do. And I don't want this to sound like, oh, this is a knock on it. No, because it does all of that very well in its sense. But an explanation why I feel One Piece takes a bit of a higher meaning to me, because it's just not about like, oh, I'm following Gon, I'm trying to see what's his next motivation, or what else is he up to, or like, okay, how are you gonna grow and straight and it's that. No, with this, I'm seeing a family connect, bond, grow with each other, take on different things together, travel the world, an immersive world that I can see myself in, and it's like that's a different feeling for me compared to Hunter x Hunter. Like with Hunter x Hunter, I'm just excited to see, um in terms of these next fights, like, oh, what's the power gun? But now with Hunter, Nen is beautifully done. Like Nen is beautifully done. Like in terms, like, so that's the two differences with world building and immersing you in the world. What is without a doubt creating a power system and a believable power system, and one that you can say like has no fault, no flaws. Hunter all the way.
Uses math.
Right. Like
it uses mathematics.
It goes very in depth. But for me, I like I said, I still have it. Not only did I get rejuvenated with Hunter, it also made me appreciate One Piece a lot more.
Okay.
That's my thought to that.
All right.
Okay.
You want to go, Leroy, or you want me to get this?
I'll jump in for now, and then you could jump in.
Okay.
So in terms of the comparison between the two, I completely get what you're saying, Kuma. Especially in terms of the feeling you get with One Piece as opposed to other manga of that type.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a part of the mangaka's intention too, because I think Oda in crafting One Piece, like when he made Romance Dawn, was to make a grand adventure that you feel like you're following along in, as opposed to just reading. But with Hunter x Hunter, I think that's when it gets to the world building, and I'm on the fence with the world building aspect of it, because on the one hand, you have Oda, masterful world builder, excellent character development. But when you look at what Togashi was able to do with such a small... So we saw Luffy go across the whole East Blue, the whole Grand Line, the majority of the New World. In Hunter x Hunter, they didn't even make it out of this lake yet.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even make it outside of this tiny speck of the entire world. And we're just so amazed by what Togashi just managed to build in there. To the point that when they actually decide to set sail and like, oh, we going over here, years later, people are still theorizing on what the fuck they're gonna find when they go out there. So it's like, I think the sentimentality, while it isn't something that could objectively be measured, it does have an effect on how people are gonna view it, which, in all honesty, the sentimentality, I feel, is the only thing for me that pushes One Piece above Hunter x Hunter, because they are close.
Yeah, I know.
For me, they are super close.
I agree.
But when you look at when you consider the crafting of the world, the crafting of the characters, I mean, I have never cared about menial side characters. Like what was the octopus chimera ant? Ikalgo was his name or something like that?
Yeah.
Someone like that in One Piece isn't going to play a major role in the overall plot for that arc. Like it's I don't know, but it's like what Togashi can actually do with anyone, like anyone. It's just Togashi could make fodder clutch.
Yeah.
Togashi has the ability to make fodder a key element of progressing the story. And his character development, with your comparison of Gon and Luffy, I would actually push back with saying that they're similar, because I feel like they are vastly different. Luffy is a very straightforward, very transparent, very easygoing, easy to decipher character, whereas Gon is the first time I've seen a child protagonist portrayed as just completely morally ambiguous. Like we tend to assume Gon to be the good guy, like the hero of the story and stuff, as he's the protagonist. But if you actually analyze Gon's actions throughout the series and some of the choices and decisions and conversations that he isn't really that, like, what's his name? The chameleon chimera ant.
What is his name?
You know what I mean? The one
trying
who
to
could
but I know
camouflage.
this
Yeah.
name. I know this name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was talking to Gon and he was like, "Wow, you trusted me really easy. Like, why you trust me like that?" And Gon just said, without even thinking, he said, "Well, if you was lying, I'd just kill you." This is a child.
No, I
This
agree
is
with
a
you.
child protagonist. So
you.
like, and the fact that he isn't driven by like a desire for more power or a specific. He literally just wants to find his dad and then have some fun along the way. But anything that like yeah, I guess we don't have to worry about spoilers at this point, but I'm gonna say spoilers ahead of time anyway. But with Kite's death, the fact that this little boy can decide, you know what, fuck it, I don't really care no more. I can just kill you. I can just take it. I'm erasing you. I don't care what happened to me, but you will not exist at the end of this night. That's heavy. Like, that is heavy. And I don't like, Oda can create that degree of weight, but it takes group dynamics. Like, it takes the rush on Marineford and the almost successful extraction of Ace and then his eventual death and Luffy finally cracking from all of that. But with Gon, it's like,
it was always
he was always like a monster. He was always a monster.
That's the thing about the going back early too. You see it.
You see it.
Yeah.
You see it.
It was always there. Just in the way it was his obsession to face Hisoka and just gradual, like, well, I just don't care about I just care about fighting now at this point.
Zero fear of death.
Yeah. And you can and someone will try to put it like that's his childlike innocence as well, playing in there as well. But it's not, like you said, he's more ambiguous. And
it's deeper than that.
The interesting thing about it too, you watch the flip between him and Killua.
Yeah.
Kind of watch the flip between him and Killua, and it's obvious, and it was very Tagashi never hit it. Like, he always had that hints of that story element playing in as he watched Gon, and then you see Killua observing certain things. It's like, well, I would have just did this. So now, like, he's questioning his morality, and while Gon is slowly just like, well, there is no morality. It's just it is or it isn't. So, like you said, you killed my friend. Well, now I'm killing you. That's just the way it's gonna be. Or you lie to me. Well, I'll just kill you. Like, that's just it. It's just that or this. So no, I agree with. Like, listen, I agree with you on that point. And I say, well, before Amar goes,
yeah,
let me walk back one thing, because we say it a bit differently. When I said him being a stereotypical shot, that, and me saying that too is saying that Oda has taken the shonen tropes, if you will, and the genre of itself, and enhanced it, and just taken it in a different aspect, refined it to whereas the tropes are there, but it's done in a way that doesn't make you feel as though you're being cheated. It doesn't make you feel as though, well, okay, well, this don't make sense, or it's like, well, you called it to me with the story, but no, it's there, but it's refined and fine tuned, like I said, which I highly appreciated. Why the biggest walk back I'm going with after revisiting the series, he doesn't have to finish it for it to be a top 10, a highly regarded series. He doesn't
at all.
He doesn't
at all.
Everything else at this point is a bonus, and just adds to what's already a great series. And your aspect. Well, before I get there, Omar, go ahead.
Well, I glad that you said that last piece, because that's also something I wanted to touch on. But for Hunter, because one of the things that you always would say to me is that you can't consider Hunter to be the GOAT because it's not. You don't feel like it's completed. They didn't finish yet or whatever. Yada yada yada.
Frequent argument.
After these past few months and just looking back at the series and also watching other people's material on the series as well, I've come to realize that exactly what you said about One Piece, I can say that exact same thing about Hunter, and I'll tell you why. But first, I want to comment on some of the things that you said. In terms of the world building thing, L pretty much he touched on that perfectly in regards to the whole thing with the Dark Continent and the world that we have known until now just being a small speck of the actual like full world of Hunter x Hunter. Like, and that's what I tell a lot of people about this new arc that's coming up now. Like the level of ambition that Togashi is taking on with this is astronomically high.
Insane.
Like I tell a lot of people that I give One Piece world building over everything else. But if Togashi is able to somehow pull this off in the way that I think he will, I have no qualm saying that Hunter is at least equal to One Piece in world building. But even without that, we have certain locations like Yorkshire City. What's the name of the city that the Phantom came from again?
Media
City. We got the Media
City.
City. The whole concept of Greed Island in itself is something that I thought that was very cool, is because it was created by Jing first of all, and it was just a way to pretty much like test certain hunters and see how they'd be able to survive in like this new landscape and stuff like that. Like everything about that like was pretty cool. Like Togashi has the capabilities to craft interesting and a very diverse world. It's just that for him, and this is where I say the difference between him and Oda is that Oda, he focuses more on the world building, like creating this world and telling the story about this world and how it affects the characters. Whereas Togashi, he focuses more on the characters themselves. He takes them to the nth degree, and
I agree.
he puts them in situations that completely test them in every sense of the word. And like I said before, I don't think any other manga in the shonen genre has ever done something like this before. Now, the next thing that Javon said that I want to touch on is the comparison between Gon and Luffy. Literally, after we had part one of this conversation, I saw something that completely changed my perspective of Gon again. Because in addition to that morally ambiguous part of his character, a lot of people forget one thing about him, and I understand why, because the Hunter anime didn't really showcase this as well as the manga did, and that's how important Kite was to Gon's entire journey. Now, a lot of people know that Gon wants to find his dad, yes. But the other aspect of that they that I don't think a lot of people realize is that Gon, he like Killua, they sort of have an issue with determining their own self-worth. And when Gon realized that his dad left him to be this hunter thing or whatever, it wasn't until Kite came to the island to inspire him to come there, because when he first met Kite, Kite basically became to Gon the standard, basically. Like Kite was the standard. Like this is who he wanted to be, because not only was Kite a very powerful and a very renowned hunter, but Kite was somebody who had the respect of his own father. So when Gon set out on his journey, he, in addition to finding Jing, he also wanted to be a hunter like Kite. He wanted to live up to the expectations of Kite, because that also would help him in regards to living up to the expectations that he thought his father had on him, basically. So when you look at the Chimera arc again, and you look at why Gon freaked out, and then in addition to what you said, Javon, in regards to Hisoka, he wanted to be strong enough to be Hisoka, because he also was trying to emulate that strength that Kite has, basically. That's the main reason why Gon was so adamant on defeating Hisoka, because he wants to gain that strength so he could basically live up to what he thinks is his expectation, what he thinks his dad expectation is of him, basically. So when you look at that, you realize that Gon like Elle said, Gon isn't the stereotypical protagonist whatsoever. Like he in addition to being morally ambiguous, this is just a kid who is blinded by he doesn't understand that you can't live your life according to what you think other people expects of you. You can't look at somebody like I even tell this to people in real life. You can't watch what other people doing and get jealous or be envious of that and want that because you don't know what it
Sort of
took
what
for them to get there.
Kilo understand.
And we all have to go on our own journeys ourselves. And
Mhm.
in terms of the word journey itself, that's the main theme of Hunter x Hunter journeys.
Mm-hmm.
You might start your journey and you want to end it in a specific way, or you have like a specific plan for this journey. But like what Jing said in the last episode, they gone. He realized that what was truly important is what he found on the way to where his end destination was. The people he met, the experiences he had, that was what was truly important, and that meant more than his goal, basically. And that
Mm-hmm.
is the whole theme of Hunter x Hunter itself. Gone learning to love and enjoy and appreciate all of the little things on the way to his end point. In addition to him not in addition to him wanting to in addition to him realizing that he has to be his own man, that he can't live his life trying to emulate other people, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the lesson that he learned at the end of the anime. And that's why I feel like if it was the end there, that'd be perfect because his character arc
I can't
from
disagree
the
with that.
start
Yeah,
is essentially
yeah.
finished. Now he just has to like
Yep.
figure out what he want to do now. That
Yep.
he realized all these lessons.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
So that's
And
kind of
then
why.
I ain't even touched on Killua.
We ain't even touched
I ain't even touched on
Kurapika yet.
Killua. I
I
ain't
but
touched
We
the
ain't even
yet.
Kurapika is my nick. That's a different story.
exactly.
But it's so funny that you said all of that, and this is why again why I say in my rewatch, like I'm learning Oda and Togashi really aren't that similar because with One Piece as well, it's about the journey of this crew and this captain on their way to one specific point. And we've theorized a lot of things, and that being one of the theories in regards when it comes to One Piece, and is that it's just not about what this treasure is at the end, but it's like, what did you
Yeah,
do on your
Mm.
ride to get here? And it's
yeah,
like, it's so funny because I feel like the Gon and Kite situation is flipped when it comes to Luffy and Shanks, because Shanks for Luffy is that father figure, that person I inspired to be. He is the one that I look up to. And spoiler alert, if you're up to date with the manga, we could potentially get to the point where these two people have to clash, and Luffy has to go against the person that he's admired, the person that he's inspired, all to be all his life in order to get to this goal that he is set out to reach. And he is the final obstacle in the way of seeing that. So just like if Togashi pulls off expounding on the world of Hunter x Hunter, I feel if Oda pulls off this confrontation between Luffy and Shanks, I honestly feel there should be no debate or discussion in regards to who Oda is as a writer and a mangaka. Like
Oh,
feel,
I don't think
I
anybody could say that Oda isn't a great manga. Like
but
what he
people
has
say it.
done is
And that's my
basically
thing.
unmatchable.
People
Yeah.
Like
people say it, and for me, for you to deny the things that Oda does, and here's my thing, and here's
The
why
only people who say it didn't read it. The only people who
yeah,
say it
I
didn't read it.
agree,
yeah.
or they just hard on just with hating it, and there's nothing else to go about it. Because here's my thing, right? And here's why I've always felt like had that ambition of like Togashi. We need to see where Togashi goes with this story, and why I feel Oda deserves all the respect and credit, because like him, we started at a point in One Piece where the world wasn't the big yet. We were in this one seat, and then we
Mm,
learned that the ground blue. We learned that the ground, like we learned that everything is the sea is vast and big.
Mm.
There are countries way inbound. There are countries that you can't reach by normal means, and he has
Mm.
done this for years and years and years, and he's done it successfully. To whereas each place he is gone feels like a new adventure, new excitement. You learn more about the world. You learn more about the characters. You see the characters take on different journeys. You see and I've always appreciated the fact that he has allowed the crew in new spaces to be separate, because you allow your crew to experience different journeys within the same adventure and the same landscape, and to gain something and to come back as a new individual, and to come back with something that enhances the crew and helps the crew to be better as a whole. And that has been always been my thing. Like, Oda has done this consistently for me in building something, a world that would last, a world that would remain in your memory forever. And that's why I say you can't deny the world building, and also why I say him and Togashi are definitely neck and neck when it comes to being the pinnacle of what it means to be a manga author in this industry. Honestly, like they reign head and head in that regard for me. So like I said, like, it's the little things for me about One Piece that still bring it up, because I love the fact that I was able to connect with this group of characters that I wasn't able to connect with before. But obviously with Hunter x Hunter, like y'all have stated, the side characters a lot shine as well. And that's where I say too, where he's fine-tuned the shonen genre in terms of, like, everyone feels like they are a cog, an essential cog to helping motor the story along. No one character is introduced just to be introduced. Like, no one character is there just because I just need you to be there to fill out some story beats or to fill out some story areas. Like, no, you're essential to it. The same way I feel like when Oda, he introduces people, and he is great with the foreshadowing and the callbacks and the coming back to a story, to where you may go back and say, oh shoot, that what happened, so this connects to here. Oh, so that's what we get now. Like, and that's where you go, because you've created such a vast world and such a vast connected world that everything now can intertwine. And I could give you a nugget here, but that don't mean I ain't coming back to the nugget. I can let you see this journey now, so when I come back to the nugget, it can make more sense and you could appreciate it much more. So that's my thing. That's definitely my thing.
What you said just now kind of gave me an idea, a metaphor of how to look at how each mangaka approaches their world building and development.
Yeah.
Oda with One Piece is like you getting a new game and starting from the very beginning and then running straight through it. Togashi with Hunter x Hunter is like you jumping in the middle of someone's save file and just figuring the shit out and trying to finish it as you go.
I like that.
So with One Piece, you saw progressive steps up until you hit like a major threshold. We had to have the time skip. So they had a big jump and then more progressive steps. With Hunter x Hunter, at any given point, regardless of whatever progress, like, they took steps, but there were huge leaps that they needed to make. And there were times where they did not make it. There were times where they absolutely failed. Like, down the road, there might have been like some payback, or they may have succeeded at some point, or maybe they never completed it. But with Hunter x Hunter, Togashi sets it up almost as if there is no main character. You're just experiencing people in a world, and how all of these things flesh out. So there are the primary people that there are people that you follow along with. Like, we follow Gon because that's where he started us. But when you look at, I love going back to York New, because I put it slightly above the Chimera Ant arc as my favorite arc. Obviously prior to Succession War, but in York New, when you look at when we followed Gon and Killua throughout York New, they were in way over their heads. They could have died at any given point.
At any point.
At any given point, they could have died. And we're just experiencing all of these major players actually, like the entire arc was like, actually both arcs, York New going into Chimera was like watching a super extended version of Luffy trying to navigate Marineford. It's just like,
I like that.
bro,
Yes.
there's so much shit going on. You could have died. You could have died. You was close to dying. And just so much mystery and just like, yeah. So that made me think of that analogy. It's like just jumping into the middle of someone's save progress. And just trying to figure this shit out. You don't know which way to go. You just know, okay, the arrows say this way, so let's see what happens. But but so like what Togashi was able to do in what? We had 400 something chapters now?
Yeah, 440 something.
Well, it's about to be 400. We on 390 right now.
Oh yeah, if he delivers on the 20, quote unquote, then we could be at what? We could be
at 410.
410. We could be at 410. So what he's managed to do in about 400 chapters is otherworldly, but it is otherworldly. The fact that you can jump me into the middle of a save file and I'm still just gripped. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel lost. I can actually build connections with menial characters. Chitu was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it but it's just I love what Oda has done, but I think in terms of world building, he's done a masterful job, but Togashi he just ain't finished it yet. I think the only reason anyone he just ain't finished it yet.
I want to see him finish it because the same way you're saying your excitement for him, what he's done in 400 and some chapters, is with Oda and 1,000.
Same thing for One Piece. Like, same thing for One Piece because I expressed that in the video. You
did.
Where I recapped that. It's like
recapped it right. It's like how
boy.
It's been
Ujama lot.
It's been 1,000 and some chapters, right? And I'll even be fair in saying like in some arcs we have it, which been the knock by people that may not like the series as much or other individuals is like the arcs start and progress the same way, but there's something to be said that when you know and I get there when an arc starts and progresses the same way, you still love the arc because my question is always this: but did you like the arc? Yes.
But see, my issue with that is that all that is you playing it safe. Like you sticking to your formula because it works, but I would respect you more if you were to try something different and you actually stick that land, and that's what Togashi did with Hunter. Every arc is different.
Completely.
Every arc is different.
Completely.
Fair. I agree with you then. Fair.
I'm playing it safe as in bot.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I just saying that. I just saying that it's not as impressive. It's not. You're not showing me.
I disagree.
Your true testament as a writer if you playing it safe. Like you're just taking the easy road out, in my opinion, which is fine. But
but here's why I disagree a bit. Right? There's something to be said about you, and for the most part, while I think they do start and progress the same, I don't think one arc is the same. However, there's something to be said of whereas you can do something like that and people not get stale of it. Because even if it works for you, and even if that formula is nice, people will still get tired and stale and be like, oh, this. No, that doesn't happen.
Very true.
People are still excited. You introduce new characters, you introduce new aspects of this vast world, and it's like, I'm with it. And here's the difference for me too as well. I'll add to that. Why I think this is, and I don't think you can do this with everything. This is why I think you can only do this for something like One Piece. because of the premise and what the story is about. This is you going from island to island as pirates on a journey to get to this one singular point. So in regards to that, yeah, it's gonna be like we scuba the island. Oh, what's going and the character of Luffy. All right, it's the same way with Gon, and it's like, oh, I befriend you. Well, I don't ride with you. What you need to do when we come rock out, Luffy? Oh, y'all feed me. Y'all good to me. That dude giving y'all trouble. Say less. Yo, let's go. We got this. I can handle this for you. But it's something to be said that every time I enjoy it, I come out even more amazed. I come out even more impressed. They do something that catches my eye. There's something that they learn. There's growth from the characters. The world is expounded. I'm expounded upon. I'm like, yeah, it may be the same, but so what? There's like I've seen many things that operate in the same space, and it's like, it's getting tiresome now. Like I don't want to see some more. No, I don't have that feeling with One Piece. I don't have that at all with One Piece, and that's why I think even with that, Oda is still really great. Like in his writing, he's still really great because he's able to still captivate you and keep you interested in something, and even if you know there are going to be certain and similar beats.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's knocked him at all.
I don't think there's a knock against either side there.
No,
I think that aspect comes down to more of a personal preference or like a refined, not even a really refined eye, but like a specific type of eye. Like me, I'm actually a writer, so that's why whenever I describe One Piece to people, since it's fresh, since a lot of people ask me about it, why it's my number one, the first thing I tell them is it's the most well-written story, or it's the best story I've ever read. That's what I always tell them. I don't say it's the best manga. I don't say it's the best anime. I say it's the best story, because I do respect the fact that yes, he can repeat a cycle and innovate it each time to the point where it still feels like a fresh story. But critically, from a writing aspect, the fact that Togashi can go from something like the Hunter exam to Heaven's Arena to Greed Island to like vastly different types of stories, vastly different storylines, vastly different character arcs, and each one still not only pushes the story forward, but presents new ideas and new developments and new characters, new things to think about, new information to digest, and he sticks the landing each time. A lot of, like, for me personally, I was a part of the crowd where I was like, yeah, but just skip Greed Island. I used to say that a lot when I first ran through Hunter. But circling back to it with an appreciation for what Greed Island actually was, and then connecting it to the full story overall, it's like, bro, if we had 2 or 3 more arcs, I'm sure people would have a greater appreciation for Greed Island because we'd have more worldly context.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And I'll even to add more praise to Hunter, right? And it's so funny. Before this rewatch, this was going to be more of a let me tell you why One Piece is a superior manga. But no, it's definitely like there's appreciation to be had for both series. But this is for someone who recently who watched Hunter a while, but they're more of a casual anime space of thing. But when I told them I was watching it, so it's like they said the Hunter you get at the start of the series and the end of the series are so totally different. So it goes back to your point of how we started with the Hunter exam and where you progressed to. You would never guess that would be the progression.
Look how long it took us to find out about Nen.
It's true. That's true. That's true. And there was a slow education into what Nen was. It wasn't a direct boom, here, have it.
They intro everything on us at once.
No,
and we still don't know everything. We still we still don't even fully understand the Nen beasts.
No.
No.
And they're a core part of the current arc. It's just
they are.
I also want to say Oda doesn't get, at least in my opinion, enough love for his edition of hockey as well. Because
very true.
think about when hockey was added. Up to that point, we only knew devil fruits. We knew the different devil fruits. We knew, Logia, Primicia, right? And all of that. We knew that we thought that was it. We thought that was it. The crew separated. Luffy needed to get stronger. What happened? Let me tell you about this thing called hockey. And that opened a vast world. It's like, oh, there's real levels to this. And that's why I appreciated the journey. And it's this, and again, going back, two similar people. As I get further into the Grand Line, things get a little tougher. People who here supposed to be here, it's like the Heavens Arena. I get the floor 200. This is a different place. People up here know how to use certain things. I gotta get right. I crossed into the Grand Line. Wait, dudes over here know how to use hockey. They combined it with their devil fruit. Hold on, what's going on here? This a different ball game now. We talking something totally different. Now the scaling is now adding up, even to the point we see the difference between the Yonkos, the Warlords, we know there's are levels, and I always appreciated Oda for that, because we've spent so much time just knowing one aspect, and then one day he released, okay, now it's time to really show y'all this is indeed a big world, and more things are here now. It's like no. I introduced you to the Emperors. Now let me really show y'all the Emperors. Oh, Luffy learned hockey. Learn how to do this thing. Now we think, oh, Luffy got this. No, let me introduce you to the category. Let me show you what this man about. Oh, what this Big Mom about. Oh, I enter into Wano. What Kaido just eat flies? Yeah, I ain't ready about that. No, Kaido. Okay, let me take out my bot and show you. No, I here for a reason, and Oda doesn't get enough love when it comes to his own power scaling, and I think he needs to be commended for that, because he has done it beautifully. He has done it beautifully. Even when our main characters take a leap, he still shows like, no, you have a way to go. There's a way for you to go. It's just not, and I appreciate that. And that's another shonen dope that I think he's able to just do away with. It's like, no, you just don't get the power up, and now it's good. No, I've been here for a while. You have to work towards this. You got to do some things, and that's why I don't feel any arc is the same, because during this arc they get introduced, they get met with an obstacle. They come out with development, and we see struggle that happens. What? I don't even have to talk. I don't even have to. I don't even gotta talk about.
Well, let me.
This ain't the same One Piece. Okay, now I really started up now. Let
me add on. Let me add on, but from Tagashi's perspective. Now, this isn't pushback to what you said.
No.
Oda absolutely.
Javon, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong at all, Javon. You ain't wrong.
Oda deserves everything for the level of thought and creativity he put into his power system. Absolutely, because it's amazing when you look at the devil fruits alone, the creativity needed for how they could be used, how they could be implemented, what they could do, and then stacking haki on top of that with 3 types of haki. Amazing. Now, it's an amazing feat of detail and creativity. And what Tagashi does is, I feel, slightly a step above, because he not only has that detail and creativity, but he almost restricts himself to force himself to really think out the story. So the fact that he put actual numbers, like a scaling with a chart for each of the special types, and you have the ability to do every other type aside from specialists, but your profinity for that type is determined based on the one that you're naturally aligned to. And then the creativity that people can use when they go deeper into their natural affinity. Like, Kurapika is such a fucking cheat code that can still be killed. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous when you think about what he can do just with, because naturally he's a conjurer, but the fact that his clan has a special ability that allows him to switch to a specialist and then have full access to all of these others as well. So someone that he clearly has no chance in a straight up fight against. He brought a shovel to the fight with Uvoje.
I said this yesterday. To someone. I legit said the same thing.
The fact that this power system allows for, if you're creative and ingenious and your will is strong enough, because that same will which plays so heavily into haki plays heavily, super heavily into Nen, to the point where it could activate post-death abilities.
Bro, you know who was scaring me in the current arc, and I didn't realize it until I actually gone back. Saraynik. This nigga master Nen in 7 days, dog.
He's terrifying.
7 days. And he unconsciously developed one of the most broken Nen abilities, bro.
He manifested his own Nen beast and didn't even know it.
Exactly, man.
He has 2 Nen beasts. He has future sight. He mastered things that took geniuses days, months probably.
He mastered 10 Ren and Zetsu. Gone in master that. It take Gone months to master that. Months.
Oh yeah. We see it. And Gone himself is a genius.
Exactly, bro. Saraynik would be a problem.
Saraynik is an issue. You know who died next, right? In Saraynik camp, you know who died next?
Yeah.
She ain't gonna last long.
That was crazy. She was holding him back, too. She was holding him back, too.
She could get catch because she realized Saraynik is a problem.
Yeah.
But it's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. It's too late.
Man.
That's another body. That's another body.
That's another body.
That's another body. It's so the just what he established with Nen, how it works, how it can fluctuate, how the fluidity that it has, the abilities, that the fact that Gon is an enhancer and he's mastered 3 specific types just because they branch off of enhancements, so he could do emission and what else he had? He had emission for hand, and then that was manipulation with the scissors.
Yeah.
So and if you just make you can make a covenant with the power to just however strict your covenant is, the stronger the ability. It's just that's a step. Order is amazing, but that's definitely a step.
I agree.
I don't think anyone else could take.
Because
that's why I love it, because there's, like I said, there's rules. Like Togashi, he lets characters do things that are ridiculously overpowered, but at the end of the day, there's always a drawback, and it's a dire drawback. Because with Kurapika, he only could use those chains against the spider. If he used on anybody else, they could kill him.
Emperor Time slowly kills him.
Exactly. Then with Gon was able to achieve that power because he threw his life away. He literally say, I don't need to live anymore. I just want to kill this nigga, and that's it.
I'm like, that was the key, Gon. That was the key. All right, here you go. You got it. Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna say with Togashi. I agree. That's a fair assessment. It still is above, because he is implemented in a way to where it's still anyone can be beat, regardless of who you may be or what amazing name you may have. Anyone can be beaten, and that actually made me go back and realize certain other manga authors is you definitely pulled this from Togashi in terms of how you wanted to construct your power system. Horikoshi, and I've always said about Horikoshi, and when it comes to My Hero Academia and his world, he's created quirks in a way it's you may have this amazing quirk, but there can be someone that has that is the natural enemy to your quirk. So no matter how amazing it may be, you can still be beaten. No matter how it may look like your quirk may not be as useful, you are the one that is dependent on how original your quirk is. So you can tell, and you can tell it pulls. He's definitely inspired a lot of power systems, and where it's not just simply, oh, once you reach this plateau, no one else can get you. No, it's like you can reach the plateau, but you can still be beaten. Like I just need the right. If I come with the right formula, you can be beaten. Like there's no
Yep.
answer or the or to that. So I always come
That's
into
why
I
I am watching Bakugo being down right now. I am watching this.
we
I
ain't
am
into that.
watching this.
Into that. We ain't gonna get into that. We ain't getting that. But all right. So we're an hour in, and I know Leroy has to get to another engagement with he has a stream that's coming up pretty
You got a
soon.
little bit more. You got a little bit more time.
All right,
You
man.
got a little bit
All
more
right. All right.
time.
So that means I can ask a question that's been bubbling in my head. Who has your favorite arcs overall? One Piece or Hunter x Hunter? Which arc? Which series had the arc that left the biggest impression on you?
See that is gonna lean more towards One Piece because there's definitely more significant emotional ties to them because it naturally progresses as a more personal story. Like you feel like you're a part of it as opposed to just an observer of the story. So it's naturally gonna lean more towards Oda, I feel, in that sense. Because when I think about the arcs themselves, when I look, if I assess it as what I personally like more, the first things that pop in my mind is the emotions that I felt or the thoughts that I had, how long the arc or the ending of the arc sat with me, how impactful it was for me overall. And a lot of that is tied to the emotion. But if I critically look at each one, if I assess the work itself outside of my feeling, just what was presented to me, how it was crafted and how it was designed, it would lean more towards Tagashi, I'd have to say.
Okay.
It's the same for me too, because I think in terms of like in the moment feelings, because I didn't fully grasp everything with some of the arcs and Hunter right away. So for me, I'd say Marineford was probably like the one that left the most impact on me because Ace is my favorite character first of all. So you know that fucked me up when he died.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
Can't even eat donuts no more. That's crazy.
Exactly, bro. Exactly, though. So
wow, that's damn.
yeah, but like you said, if I think it critically as to what it did, like the writing, the themes, and where the character started and ended, and then in terms of like the duality between characters like Meruem and Gon, like Chimera and Doc would be that arc for me.
That's what I expected you to say. That's what I expected you to say.
Yeah, so my answer is the same as Leroy. He was spot on. Spot on.
I do think it's similar in terms of construction, whereas for the emotion. But
Water 7 Ennis Lobby, York New. Just throwing that out there.
You must. I was about to say Water 7.
Water 7 Ennis Lobby, York
Water
New.
7. I about to say Ennis Lobby. I'd have to go. That left probably the biggest.
Ennis Lobby is up there.
That left the biggest impression on me. I will
For
not
me,
lie.
that and Marineford is still the two best arcs in my opinion.
Of One Piece? No, absolutely. Absolutely. I do think Wano is pretty
As much as I like Wano, there's some problems.
Really?
There are some problems.
What are your problems?
The pacing, first of all. I feel like
okay. All right, go ahead.
I feel like a lot of the side characters, there wasn't anything that nuanced. Well, let me not say the Scabbards because I think the Scabbards had decent development for what they are. But in terms of like people in Kaido crew, like I didn't really get that type of development, that type of characterization that I was expecting from them. I think the only one in that crew I actually felt something for was King. And that's because the whole racism thing with it and stuff like that. And how he went out too. I love how he went out. I love that. So yeah, apart from him, like I didn't really give a shit about any of the antagonists. In terms of Kaido, I felt like the build up for him wasn't excluding his power. Excluding his power, the build up for his character didn't deliver for me.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too. Because I feel like what Oda missed out on there. What Oda missed out on there was actually fleshing out more of, and I said this to Vaughn too. I think you was there when we talked about this, when Vaughn had mentioned that Wano was one of his top arcs, and I said Kaido they didn't deliver enough on Kaido. With the other arcs, we had more detail into the mindset and the mentality of the people. Why do they do this? What is his motivations? Like we get some hints like, yeah, he here for Pluton, or but why is he a drunk? What is his search for Joy Boy? He wasn't fleshed out nearly as much as any of the other antagonists that I've seen so far. Yeah. So it's like all of this finally getting up to here to just punch him in the ground, and now we pushing out. It was a lot of build up, and it was an amazing arc, but it's just certain plot points the payoff didn't match the build up.
Yeah, I also didn't like that we had to watch Luffy get beat down 3 times before he went. Like, I get the point. I understand the character was strong, but Oda really dragged that out for way too long.
I mean, I think for me that goes back to showing that there's still a difference here, because if we would honestly look at it, Luffy didn't have a win for a long time until that Kaido arc. Boy, he didn't beat Kurapika. I mean, I say Kurapika. He didn't beat Katakuri. He allowed him to win because he gained his respect. They didn't really beat Big Mom, and then they went into Wano, and like you said, he got beat down from Kaido. Like Luffy was taking some real L's. Like he was out here really taking, pun intended, he was really taking some L's out there and like getting washed until he finally had the awakening for his devil fruit. Which is another aspect. I'm so
thankful for Gear 5 because I was skeptical. I couldn't see how Luffy was going to beat this nigga, but thankfully Gear 5 makes sense. Thankfully that makes sense.
Before Gear 5, that raid fail theory made so much sense to me, but I was like, but there's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Nothing like you could at that point, which then
realistically, if you look at it, I think me and Vaughn was just talking about this yesterday too. If Kaido was fresh when Luffy came with a fresh gear fit, I don't think Luffy was winning.
Javon, remember what I said in the group the other day? I don't think Luffy was winning. People was doing a top 10 character by power, and they had Kaido in number 2, and Luffy was like 5 or 6 or something like that. I just was like, bro, what? But then the guy was like, if Kaido was fresh, he think Luffy was going
to win. Luffy was getting washed.
No, I agree. Because at a certain point, I was like, yo, they still fighting? I
think about how many people jumped Kaido in that one fight, but
you're right.
Kaido might have been like, yo,
Luffy get knocked out like twice, so he was sleeping for half of the fight. Kaido still up knocking niggas. Like,
oh man, that's an excellent point, bro. Boy, kind of man, look at and say, I'm happy for you.
Zoro,
I'm happy that you found your real devil fruit, but let me show you something.
Everybody,
it's true, but to the point of not learning about Kaido in this arc, I agree. Honestly, I agree to a thing, but that kind of makes me feel as though we've not seen the last of Kaido. So now when they take this,
you think he's alive?
Him and Big Mom.
Absolutely.
Him and Big Mom.
I can see Big Mom being alive. Kaido, I don't know about Kaido. I don't know.
Especially now that Oda has told them that they're going to go into more of the explanation in terms of like the whole city with Laugh Tale and everything like that, and then adding in Kaido's desire to find joy. I fully believe we're going to get much more of there, and then that's where we're going to get.
That would be one of Oda's biggest fumbles if Kaido just died from some fucking migraine.
No,
that would be.
I hope so. I really hope you're alright. I really
that
hope
would be one of his biggest fumbles.
Just as seeing how Oda is written at this point, I can't see it. Not like that.
It don't make sense.
When he's done debts, he's done debts.
Yeah, like, but you need, if you want to die, you need a bomb. That's the only way to confirm a kill. You need a bomb.
No, like exactly. We've seen it. We've seen it with Whitebeard and a whole lot of other individuals. Like that is going to get that. So no, I don't partake. I don't.
One Piece bombs 2 for 3 right now. One Piece bombs 2 for 3 right now.
It's true.
One Piece bombs are 2 for 3.
It's true.
Pell slide by some plot, but boy, bombs are 2 for 3 right now.
No, I don't. Yeah, no. Ain't much of that happening. I don't think there's much happening in this next arc or this next progression of One Piece. But no, I am definitely on that note too. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Oda eventually release these chapters and see where that goes. Especially because I saw Kurapika, and Kurapika is my favorite of the series. So I was like, if I see Kurapika, I know something.
That man in so much shit right now. That man is so deep. He in so deep right now.
I scared him.
He in so deep right. It's terrifying.
Nah,
it's terrifying.
Because somebody brought this up. They were saying that they wouldn't be surprised if Kurapika was to die somehow from these princes, because
I am not reading this.
One thing Togashi likes to do is revert our expectations basically, and the work that he's been doing with Crollo recently as well in regards to humanizing him a bit more. Him and Kurapika, they are not different, you know.
They very similar. They are very similar. They very similar. And Vengeance. That's the whole reason they're on the boat.
Exactly. Hisoka picking them apart right now.
Hey.
So
you heard the theory about how Hisoka on the boat?
Disguised as Illumi.
That's some shit.
That makes sense, mate.
I believe it, wait. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. But it's a scary time right now.
A couple of them spiders. I don't want to see them die.
On this podcast, episode 41 at 1:12:56. If Kurapika dies, I'm not reading this series.
He could die protecting that young prince.
I am not reading this series.
He could die protecting that young prince. And the only spiders. Let me see. The only spiders who probably could survive, Franklin could dead for sure. Machi might survive, and I only say that because Hisoka didn't kill her the first time. He didn't kill. If he's could kill her, she would have been dead. So the fact that he didn't kill her already, I think she could survive. This rematch with Crollo could be nasty. This rematch with Crollo could be nasty because he need help. Bro, the fact that Crollo had to strategically plan the entire arena to fight this one man, and he is strong now. Yeah. And he's stronger now. It's no, but look.
Post-mortem net is family. Post-mortem net.
Post-mortem net is what?
No, it ain't fair for real.
That is not fair.
And this man coming with the simplest of concepts. It has the properties of both rubber and gum. That's it. This man with rubber and gum is solo in your squad. He is solo in your squad. It's a scary time on that boat, boy. I really
an excited time as well.
Boy.
I need the first volume of this. I need the first volume of these release chapters expeditiously. But before we go, before we wrap this up, discussing in the board, I want to know, especially from you, El, because you know you were heavy on both sides. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, let's say both series come to their conclusion, proper conclusion. In your eyes, right now on this podcast,
boy,
who ends? Who ends with the better finale?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
One Piece has One
on.
Piece has the reason I can't answer that is because One Piece has a conclusion that I can envision ahead of time.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way. I have absolutely no
No
fucking clue
No
what
clue.
Tagashi have in his head right now. We could guess,
Exactly.
like we could with Oda, with what he's given us so far, he's given us enough content for us to still like ideate and try to figure out, okay, well, it's gonna go in this general direction. We know what the end goal here is. It's gonna end when he finds the One Piece. So everything in between is like, okay, this could happen, this could happen,
And
this
as
could happen.
decides,
This
like,
has to happen.
He wants to throw the big swerve on us and ends in a different way. But I know you're right. But
it's a finite.
You see it.
It's an imaginably finite amount of possibilities with One Piece. Okay. Right now, we don't even know what the Dark Continent look like. We don't.
Javon, I literally just say we don't even know what Gon gonna do.
We don't
know what he want to do with his life.
I got to revisit this question again. I have to revisit this question, especially after the chapters are released. I'm gonna revisit this question.
We don't know what Nanika is. We don't know about any of the plagues, the nitro rice.
It's crazy.
And the thing is, they ain't even planning on going. Like this is a fake voyage, so we don't even know if they could end up on the Dark Continent, really. Because they're supposed to go through the gate, but they apparently have another way to get there.
I see Oda drawing. I see Tagashi drawing a bunch of forests. So we don't know.
That could be any show.
That could be anything at this point. Yeah.
It's true.
So I can't genuinely answer that because it's way too much to imagine.
Let me switch it up. I feel like I know Omar answered this, but you can answer this. You can answer it as well. But whatever. As of right now, if you're ranking One Piece and Hunter x Hunter, where do they land on you on the scale of what you've watched?
One Piece, Hunter x Hunter.
Okay. The very slight edge.
The only tip over is the emotional investment. The only tip over, I would say, is the emotional investment. Because if I just logically assess it, if I just critically assess it, it's going to have to be Tagashi and not close. But what Oda was able to do with his craft, with the creativity, with the world building, the character development, the ensemble of the cast of antagonists, protagonists, the gray area people, the progression of the story, like you can't question it. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing writing. And the emotional tie on top of that is like a multiplier for everything that he established. So everything feels elevated. So yeah, it's like they touching like One Piece, Hunter x Hunter.
Fair. After my rewatch, well, I'm still on the rewatch because I plan to go from all the way to the end. It's close for me too. I still have One Piece over the top. However, I will say this, and this is my final probably. Well, I never really said this to backtrack or anything, but it's my final salute to Hunter x Hunter. I do love Gon more as an MC than I do.
I'm shocked. I'm very shocked.
I do love Gon more as an MC than
because for me, I feel like I like Luffy slightly more. I just respect Gon more than Luffy because of the writer.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Gon is the better written character. But who I like more, I like Luffy more.
I feel like that's a different discussion for today because I do feel that while I do agree with some things, I do feel like there's a bit of an exaggeration when it comes to Luffy as a written character. But no, yeah. I'll definitely say I connect and resonate more with Gon as a character than Luffy. I find more enjoyment as him as the lead character.
You say you resonate with Gon? Javon, you suck it.
Yeah, but that's concerning.
That's very concerning.
If you resonate with that potentially sadistic young man.
Listen. I'm neither confirming or denying anything. I'm just saying. I prefer going as a paid MC than I do Luffy.
Boy.
That's it. Hey, that's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right.
I assume Omar, did you have Hunter? Well, I mean, I want to assume. I figured that's
Oh
maybe
well,
like
if we
over on.
just comparing these two, or you mean we want to know where both of them
Um,
fall in general with my shonen scale?
for you, I'll say that because I feel like I already know that Hunter for you is above One Piece,
Yeah,
but
Hunter
scale
over One Piece for
in
me
your
because
shonen scale where you have them landing.
like I I look at them from just in terms of critical thinking, in terms of writing. I'm putting
Uh-huh.
emotional events within it and all, and that's why I
Uh-huh.
say Hunter is the best. But
Yeah.
if I were to include emotional attachment, I would put One Piece over it slightly, and that's only because there's more characters in One Piece that I emotionally attached to than in Hunter.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But like, I could also say that
Mm,
Killua is a character that I am more emotionally attached to anybody in One Piece.
Facts.
really,
Yeah,
Facts.
I can see
like
why.
his character arc is masterful.
His
Like it's
growth is
just
amazing.
It is, and then, no, I would out of the, I guess the 1B characters, Killua is one. Killua's progression is similar to Bakugo's for me in terms of it's done very well in terms of you're seeing a shift in personality and a shift of their thinking and the way that they interact with individuals in the story and the way they go about doing the things that they do. I
the
definitely
trauma,
think the
the
trauma. Yeah,
trauma, bro.
yeah,
The
yeah,
trauma.
yeah. It's true. It's true. So now I'll definitely give that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that with Killua. But all right. So that brings us to the end of a very good discussion. One that I feel it's going to happen again sometime down the line in the future, especially when we get Hunter back
Boy,
with these 20
these
chapters
20
or more. Who
chapters.
knows? Or I mean, Tagashi may
It
be in
could
his
be more
mind.
too.
It
It
could
could
be
Tagashi
be
may
more.
more
be
too.
in his
Okay,
mind, which is
he
it's
been pretty consistent.
he has
Yep.
He looked like he find a nice comfortable
he
position.
Yeah.
He does. He has seemed like he has found a really comfortable position and has just been drawing, just been going about his day. So it's like I commend, like I say again, once again, I say on the podcast, I commend him for that because I know his condition and I know that's not easy. So I
Mhm.
commend him for not only committing to 10, but giving us 20. Which is gonna, I mean, even if it's just 20, gives it, it's gonna
I
last for a
scared, bro.
while.
I
It's gonna
scared with this
last.
20.
Like
I
20 days.
scared.
That's a lot of chapters, and like we know,
No
traditionally,
way.
Tagashi will
It's a
fit.
lot of
He
reading.
will use his
It's
speech
a
bubble.
lot of reading.
Tagashi
It's a
will use
lot
his
of
speech.
reading.
So that 20
Look
is
here.
a lot.
Look here.
That 20
Hana
is a
Hana
lot.
ain't for you if you don't like to read, buddy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hana ain't for you if you don't like to read. Because this man, because he have to explain everything. Like he has
Yeah.
to flesh these things out.
Ain't no
Even in
plausible
the
on this
wait,
one. No
even
plausible
in
on
the
this one.
anime. Even in the anime, you notice the presence of the fucking announcer who explaining the shit. Everything going in slow motion panning as he explains everything going on.
Yeah.
And you still could be lost. And you still could be lost.
Bro,
Yeah.
listen to me. Between Tagashi and Gengi for Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't know who is right or wrong. But
Yeah,
Tagashi gonna make you read. And so
GG,
that's why.
GG if you are some other shit sometimes. So,
But yeah, that
I know what he doing.
that 20 is immaculate, and I can't wait, especially now considering that we're entering into the final arc. Well, final arcs, who knows? Because we have 3 to 5 years of One Piece left. Whatever Oda eventually lands on, but it's gonna be good to have both series back at a very crucial time for them. So it's expect a lot of excitement. Exactly. If you're a fan of both or a fan of either, expect a ton of excitement to unfold. So definitely looking forward to that. But until then, that brings us to the end of episode 41 of the Otaku Summit podcast. Once again, thank you, Leroy, for coming on the pod and holding BEY Entertainment down with us and coming to discuss some One Piece and some Hunter x Hunter.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Anytime, my 2 favorite topics.
At this point, you found me in the pod, so Whenever you want to come back on, be free. Let it know.
Say
We
less.
never scared to talk anime on this podcast. So
Say
until then,
less.
everybody, you know the deal. So last time, last time, at the end of every pod, we end with a traditional poof, the sound off everything, and to completely solidify the episode. So as always, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, the Sonnet YouTube page, on SoundCloud, as well as TikTok, and come holler at your boys and girls in the Discord as well. And we will be linking everything BEY Entertainment related when this episode is updated. So obviously go show them some love. Until we meet again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Otaku Summit, and we are out. Woo!